have to guess. It's in the file notes, Your Honor. They were shooting on both sides, and that's why it's not charged as one person assaulting the other. They were shooting at each other based on what was said. And so that's why he's charged with possession of that weapon. And that is why I argued not for the concern for the safety of the other complaining witness, although I don't want anything to happen to him, not complaining witness, but other individual, but the safety of the public, because this was shooting outside in a residential area.
You said you requested your alternative bond, Mr. Douglas, was $50,000 on a personal bond and GPS tether. Is that correct?
With a curfew to allow for work, yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Byrd. Is anything else you want to
add? Not really, Your Honor. All I do is want to say, if there is shooting, that doesn't mean that two people can't be charged with trying to assault each other. Just because so that they still could have brought assault.
Mr. Byrd, let me just say this, and you're making some statements that I find very, very troubling for the following reasons in terms of could charge or not charge or whatever. I have a great deal of respect for my former colleagues in the prosecutor's office. Are they perfect? No. But they use their best judgment in assessing what can be charged and what should be charged based on the evidence. Now, you're assessing because Mr. Douglas was forthright in terms of why he wasn't charged with anything higher or assaultive. And it could very well be with this complaining witness, argument could be made on his side. Don't know. But since you're bringing out speculation that he was at his house, we had a right to possess a gun, was arguing and defending himself lawfully, and that's probably why he wasn't charged as well. So I hate to go down the rabbit hole of speculation because we can go down, on and on and on and on and on. What I have here is your client charged with basically possession of a handgun, which he's prohibited to, and I'm going to keep the bond there, and I am going to give him a personal bond. However, the underlying facts as to why these charges are brought, this court finds very, very troublesome. And I am going to have him no contact with that street address, no contact with Mr. Mitchell. And given the fact that he is an habitual fourth offense and not supposed to have a gun because he's legally prohibited to, I am going to have him fitted with a GPS tether, 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew. Probable cause February 18th, preliminary examination February 24th, both in front of Judge Downs. I said, to your point, Mr. Byrd, because these are non-assaultive charges is the reason why he's getting a personal bond. But the court has to consider the underlying reasons why the police were there and underlying reasons why the charges were brought. And just as a safety measure, the GPS tether and the no contact provisions. So he can avoid putting himself in a situation to get charged like this again, potentially. Okay, is there anything else either counsel wants to put on the record?
Nothing from the people, Your Honor.
Nothing for this case, Your Honor, but I would like to clarify myself on the situation.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, I never said anything negative about the prosecutor's office not bringing the charges. I just said that they didn't choose to bring assaultive charges against them. So I wasn't saying a negative statement about the prosecutor's office for it to be troubling.
Okay.
And second of all, the reason why I said they didn't bring those charges, and it's because I don't want speculation into that this happened and that happened. We had the charges in front of us and they were non-assault.
Correct. And that's why I said
that's our clarification.
Right.
That's the clarification that I wanted to make. It wasn't me disrespecting your colleagues. I said nothing disrespectful, Your Honor.
Former colleagues. Yeah. And that's why, to your point, Mr. Byrd, because he's non-assaultive charges, that's why I gave him personal bond. But like I said, the court is concerned about the underlying circumstances as to how these charges were brought about. But your point is well taken, and thank you for clarifying. Probable cause February 18th, preliminary examination February 24th, both in front of Judge Giles. Step aside, sir. $50,000 personal bond.
Mr. Walker.
And if I could ask your honorable clerks, because I know we got some honorable ones down there right now. But
Yeah.
what was Mr. Lake's court date, and what judge is he going in front of, and what judge is Mr. McCormick going in front of?
Oh my goodness. All right.
McCormick is Bryant, 219.
McCormick's Bryant, February 19th.
Lake is also Bryant, 219. Sir.
Same dates for both.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
Excuse me, Your
What's your
Honor.
name?
Excuse me, Your Honor. Did Mr. Mitchell have a monetary amount to his personal bond?
$50,000 personal bond, GPS tether, 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew.
Thank you.
What's your name, sir? Speak slowly.
Dallas Walker, sir.
All right. This is case number 250-443-8301. You said Michigan versus Jarvis Walker. Appearances, please.
Steve Benson for the people.
Yes, Your Honor. Brother Bird, on behalf of Jarvis Walker, my client waives his right to the formal reading, was advised his constitutional rights, and will stand mute.
All right. The court will enter not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Walker. Bond recommendation from the people.
Magistrate, we're going to be asking for monitorization as well as possibly an alcohol tether. As you can see, it's a second offense notice. The previous domestic violence conviction occurred November 17th of 22. It was with the same complaining witness. And now we have this defendant who allegedly is assaulting that gal again for the second time. So respectfully, based on the fact that it's a second, based on the fact it's the same complaining witness, as well as reading the allegations, as well as a few other reports, and you can surmise just based on the report, he had to go for that alcohol clearance. There could possibly be an alcohol problem here. We're going to be asking for the monitorization as well as the alcohol monitorization.
Mr. Bird?
Just so we don't speculate, John, I don't want to speculate there's an alcohol problem just because he had to go for an alcohol clearance. That could have just been one good night. But 48-year-old lifelong resident of Michigan indicates to us that has 10 kids who he helps support. Not on
Wait a minute.
probation.
1-0? You said 10?
1-0, Your Honor.
Okay, I just
1-0.
want to make sure I heard that correctly. Go ahead.
You heard it. Not on probation and parole, no pending cases. He does landscaping. He does landscaping, Your Honor. He does have some physical issues in which he takes medication for. And if we can mark it, make sure his files marked medical, it'd be appreciated. But hopefully we can get him back out here. Hopefully we can get him back out here to the world where he could get his medication on his own. He takes 3 of his kids to school, Your Honor. He has no problem with contact with the complaining witness. I do understand he has a prior domestic violence, and they state that is with the same complaining witness. But for some reason, that complaining witness came back around him. So it might be a good situation that they both stay apart from each other. And he has no problem with that, no contact. He would like
Does he have an alternative place to stay?
He's gonna have to find one. If you do, give him a nut.
Wait a minute. Finding one and having one are two different things. So which one is he?
Mr. Walker.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna have to go. You might have to go somewhere else. Where will you be staying?
It's a flat thing. Just I wanted to go to the Army though. With the last case, I did 40-something days in rehab with no alcohol drinking and nothing at CGG Christensen. I did
That's
over
not
40.
what I'm asking, Mr. Walker. I said, where will you be staying?
I have to find somewhere to go. My parents, all my people are dead. Me and her been together 17 years. She has a bipolar situation. I can try to find I go back to the CDC. I went to rehab there. I did over 50-something days of rehab with no alcohol. So I don't have an alcohol problem.
Mr. Walker, that's not what we're asking. We're asking, where will you be staying?
I might try to stay with my sister and niece. But I still have to get my kids to school. That's missed up. That's it. I can try either one of them, sir.
Does Miss all right, I see what we're running into here. One second.
Uh-huh,
Does Ms. Monroe have a car to get your kids to school?
No, we share the same vehicle. She don't have a car. She do not have a car. We both have the same car. I mean, I have no problem with Ms. Monroe. Like I say, I just want to be able to get my kids to school and go to work, sir.
Where's the vehicle now?
On Chalmers. That's
Does
why
she drive it?
It's on the flat.
Does she drive?
What you say, sir?
Does she drive it?
Occasionally. But she's driving, she don't take her medication. She's bipolar. I'm the one
Mr. Burr,
that's one vehicle. I'm the one bringing the income in, sir.
Sir, I'm
Yes.
talking to your attorney. Mr. Byrd, do you have any suggestions?
Is there any way we could go, is there any way he could go on camera 4 and we could speak with him a little bit further about this situation, Your Honor?
I don't know what camera's working. Hello, DDC, is there a camera working?
1 second, sir.
No, this is the only camera we have. You can't dial in on the other one. We can't dial out.
Did you hear that, sir?
I heard that. Can we pass on Mr. Walker and go on to the rest of them? I'll recall Mr. Walker.
You'll call them back? Okay, come on, Mr. Walker.
Yes, sir.
Step aside, we'll call you back.
What's your name? Okay, is that no problem?
What's your name?
Robert Poison.
All right, sir. This is case number 250-557-1901, Pearson, Michigan versus Robert Coynton. Appearances, please.
Jennifer Douglas for the people, P72748.
Mr. Byrd, unmute.
Yes, Your Honor. Brandon Byrd on behalf of Robert Coynton. My client waives his right to the formal reading and will stand mute.
The court will not guilty plea on behalf of your client. Final recommendation from the people.
Your Honor, the people are going to ask for a bond of $50,000 cash as surety with tether house arrest for the following reasons. Your Honor, here we have an alarming set of allegations. And just for some clarification, I did send an email to Mr. Byrd's colleagues, letting them know that the witness number 1 who's mentioned, where they say witness 1 struck the defendant with a bat and called the police, that's the complaining witness's daughter who's mentioned earlier in the report. And that child is 13 years old. So the allegation is that Mr. Coynton was assaulting the complaining witness in the presence of the 13-year-old daughter. And then after dragging her into the room and realizing the 13-year-old was there, dragged her out, and then allegedly pulled down the woman's pants and pushed her legs over her head while this child is still there in the house. And that this 13-year-old, trying to save her mother from this assault, begins to beat Mr. Coynton with a baseball bat and calls for help for her mother. So we do think that this is a particularly concerning set of allegations here. It would be concerning if the complaining witness was alleged to have been at home alone, but for something like this to be going on when Mr. Coynton is alleged to have known that this child was in the house is even more concerning. And Your Honor, we would point out that the domestic violence charge is a DV second. I had assumed when I saw the year on that case was over, but I just now, right before you called the case, just pulled it up in case it came up. And he's still on probation for that. On my court, showing him is still on probation somehow on that other DV case out at 37th District Court, Your Honor, that he has a review date in March. So while on probation for domestic violence, he's allegedly doing this. There does appear to be a number of probation violations showing on the register of actions. And so perhaps something in there would explain how he could still be on probation. But for someone to be on probation for domestic violence and then be accused of this, and then for it to be done in the presence of a child who then has to save their mother, we have concerns for this complaining witness. I also
Thank
sent,
you.
okay.
Well, go ahead. No, go ahead, Ms. Douglas.
In the email that I sent Mr. Bird's colleagues, I did indicate a file note. There's not a lot of detail in the file note, so all I know is that there's a February 6/25 note saying that the complaining witness said that Mr. Coyton had texted her saying he had a gun and he was going to come over and shoot her, Your Honor. It doesn't explain when that was supposed to happen, like was that supposed to be part of this assault or something else? So I don't have that information for Your Honor. But we think that even if we set that aside, what's alleged to have happened here with the child present while still on probation, that there's a grave danger. And that's why we're asking for $50,000 cash or surety to other house arrest.
One follow-up question, Ms. Douglas.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the complaining witness's daughter his daughter as well?
I don't know, Your Honor, because I think they've only been kind of seeing each other for like 3 years, and this child's 13.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Bird.
36-year-old lifelong resident, Your Honor. 4 children of his own. Lives with his mother. Indicates to he was forthcoming about his prior criminal history in Warren, and indicates to us there's no amount of bond he could afford. My client, first of all, I just want to state there wasn't any gun recovered from this situation. He has a new girlfriend, and he indicates to us that the complaining witness is jealous in this matter. And he's been in anger management classes for his probation. He's been drug testing twice a month, and said everything's been going well with that. Respectfully, I do understand these are very assaultive allegations, but my client doesn't have any problem with no contact with the complaining witness at this point. Doesn't want any contact with the complaining witness. He understands where it's going to take him. And respectfully, we're going to ask this court potentially for a personal bond. He doesn't have any money that he could afford. If this court's not inclined to a personal bond, then a reasonable or low 10% bond seems fit by the court, even though that'd be unaffordable for him. So ideally, a personal bond, Your Honor.
Okay, court having an argument as to bond. And one of the key factors this court looks at when assessing bond in domestic violence cases is where the incident occurred. If it occurs at the complaining witness's house, that leads me to believe one way. If it occurs at the defendant's house, it leads me to believe a certain set of facts that go on here. And in this case, this occurred at the complaining witness's house. And so it was the complaining witness, notwithstanding Mr. Bird's point that the complaining witness is jealous, this incident occurred at her house. I would tend to give a little bit more weight or credibility to the assertion that she's jealous if this incident had occurred at his house. So that's one factor right there. The second factor brought out by Ms. Douglas is the fact that this is a domestic violence second offense, and the fact that he's currently on probation for that case while this case is pending. So those two factors alone indicate to me, regardless of whether a handgun was found or not, that he is a danger to at least this complaining witness. And although this is not a determining factor, this is just kind of a tangential note that a 13-year-old felt so afraid and protective of their mother that they had the wherewithal and the presence of mind not only to get a bat and defend their mother, but to call the police.
May I speak?
That says that's what the report says in these allegations. Now, I'm just saying, I'm just stating my reasons as to why I find that he is a danger to the complaining witness. If that is in fact true, I don't know. And I'd like to remind me, Mr. Byrd, he's innocent to proven guilty. Nothing's been proven yet. But assuming that these allegations are true for the sake of argument, coupled with his fact that being on probation and the fact that this incident occurred at the complaining witness's house, I find that he is a danger to the complaining witness. I'm going to adopt the recommendation of the people: $50,000 cash surety, GPS tether, house arrest. While his case is pending, he's not possessing any handguns, firearms, or other dangerous weapons.
May I speak?
No, you cannot speak. No contact with the Lumpkin address. No contact with the complaining witness. Bond redetermination be February 10th, 9 a.m. in front of Chief Judge McConicle. Probable cause February 14th. Preliminary examination February 20th in front of Judge Jack K. Mr. Coyton, do you have any questions regarding your bond conditions and/or court date?
Yes. So 50,000. I have to have 50,000 cash.
Cash surety, yes.
Can I at least speak about the case that I
No,
never been hit?
please,
Mr. Byrd,
do not.
Mr. Byrd won't allow you. I don't want you to, because you say something and I may have to double that bond. So silence is your best friend right now. Step aside, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And one lady, that's it?
One camera.
Oh, I'm sorry. What they gonna bring you? Okay.
How you doing?
Hi, what's your name, sir?
Juwan.
All right, this is case number 25055720101. Houston, Michigan versus Juwan Powell. Appearances, please.
Thank you, Magistrate Steve Benson, P71917.
Yes, Your Honor. Brandon Byrd on behalf of Juwan Powell, my client, waives his right to the formal reading and will stand mute.
Court order not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Powell. On recommendation from the people.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
So, Mr. Powell,
Yes, sir.
did anybody ask you a question?
I thought you. I'm sorry.
No. Please exercise your right to remain silent. We already entered a not guilty plea on your behalf, and it's the prosecutor's turn to talk at this moment, Mr. Powell.
Okay.
My bad.
Mr. Powell,
Yes, sir.
I entered a not guilty plea on your behalf. You don't have to say that anymore today.
Okay.
Go ahead, counsels.
Magistrate, unfortunately, guilt or not, this defendant's already on a personal bond. He's awaiting a trial March 13th regarding 3 counts, possession by a prohibited person of firearms, an FF, as well as a CCW. We're going to be asking you to invoke the 7656A. And allegedly here he was found with 30 oxycodone pills on his person while he's on a personal bond awaiting that trial. So respectfully, we would leave it up to you to the amount, but because he's on a personal bond, we're going to be asking you to give him a cash bond.
Mr. Vincent, where is this, what court does he have his trial date?
It's out of Third Circuit. It's in front of Judge Blount. It's case number 240059151.
What's the charge?
I got 3 charges. I got firearms possession by a prohibited person, felony firearm, and a CCW.
Okay. What's the bond on that case?
$15,000 personal.
Okay, Mr. Byrd.
We ask for $1 if you're going to invoke it, Your Honor. This is a non-assaultive. This is a non-assaultive allegation. It was non-assaultive allegations for what he's facing at trial, and if we're going to invoke that, we're going to ask for $1. He's a 28-year-old lifelong resident of Michigan. One child, lives with his grandparents. He was forthcoming to us about his prior criminal history. Employed, he does shoe repair, Your Honor. Unable to afford any amount of bond. So if we are going to invoke it, we're going to ask for $1.
I'll tell you all my dilemma. $1 bonds, $10 bonds, $100 bonds on non-assaulted cases, to me, serve no purpose. Although I understand that's what the law requires, I get it. But I don't necessarily agree with its application in situations like this. I'd rather put a tether on him in a personal bond than give him a $10 or $1 bond. That's my personal preference. But Mr. Vincent, if you adhere to the 765 statute, I will give him a dollar amount. But I'm just letting you know my personal preference in these type of matters, because I don't think they serve any useful purpose. But that is the law. That is the law. So what's your pleasure, Mr. Vincent?
Personally, magistrate, I tend to agree with you in terms of the way of the interpretation of the 7656A. Unfortunately, the court isn't very consistent in terms of how it handles that. I've run into a mandatory cash bonds, and I've also run into the school of thought like you had just said regarding let's go a different route with this, because hey, if it's non-assaultive, that doesn't really meet the requirements for why we should give a cash bond. I'll leave it up to you. I have to, at least based on what my experience in the court, and the mandates ask for that, but you're not alone when it comes to the way that you feel about it, especially in the 36th District Court. Unfortunately, it's just inconsistent up to this point.
And I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you, but you know, like I said, what's the point of having a dollar bond? I mean, what is, you know?
Well, I'm not asking. Yeah, in fairness, I'm not asking.
I know what you're saying. That's what Mr. Byrd asked. That's an extreme situation. But $1, $10, whatever the dollar amount is, nominal amount, what are we really doing here? You know, and that's my bigger concern. But if you are strong on that point, Mr. Vincent, I will give a cash bond per the statute.
No, it just gives me more work and redeterminations next week. So if you feel it more appropriate to do the monitorization based on the fact that he's on bond and now he's being charged with a new crime, I'll concede to that greater judgment.
Permission to speak, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Byrd.
Now, this the dilemma I'm having when we say monetization, because if it's between the dollar amount and monetization, I don't understand where the monetization comes in.
Let me answer that for you. Because he's out on bond committing a crime, allegedly, you know, we're able to track him, and he has a curfew. So so my thinking is, if I give him a GPS tether while falling under the statute, okay, and I give him a curfew, he's less likely to commit yet another crime while on a bond, allegedly. That's my thinking.
Right. I just don't see where he's a flight risk or a threat to the community.
I just stated why. I don't want a potential dangerous community to protect him and possibly the public from him committing yet another crime. Now, that crime could be much like it is. It's not assaultive and arguably no danger to the community, but nonetheless, it is a crime. And perhaps the worst case scenario, he's a danger to himself. An argument could be made, which I'm making, is that he to help himself and or the community, depending on what may happen. That's my point, Mr. Byrd.
Right. I just think if you gave most people the opportunity to pay a nominal bond or a tether, they're going to choose the nominal bond and find a way to get the nominal bond so they don't have to wear a tether.
I understand that, Mr. Byrd, but my responsibility is to set a bond that one, is least restrictive, and two, to protect the community. And that's my opinion on that. And we're having a discussion here regarding this, but those are just my thoughts. And like I said, a nominal bond of $1 or whatever, that really doesn't, that's basically no bond at all. And it's not serving, to my way of thinking, it's not serving him nor the community any justice by giving that bond when we're really concerned about him while he's out on bond committing other crimes. And that's why, in my mind, having it fit with a tether, some restrictions, it will minimize that opportunity for him to commit another crime, whether it's assaultive or non-assaultive, not committing any other crimes. So that's my thinking.
Right, understandable,
sorry.
Your Honor, but I apologize if I was speaking over you, Mr. Vincent, too.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
But this is what's going on. He's going to trial. He's going to trial on that. He's still not guilty on that. When we're using the word, I don't want to have him out here committing any other crimes. First of all, we don't know if he committed
Let me
the first
rephrase that. I don't want him being charged with any of the crimes. Let's put it that way. Let me rephrase that. I misspoke. I don't want him charged with committing any of other crimes, and it minimizes that with a tether. And like I said, you always like to remind me he's presumed innocent, and that's actually true. And I misspoke, but I want to minimize his chance of getting accused of yet another crime while out on bond.
I think there's one other thing we're missing too. The legislature, in their infinite wisdom, didn't use the articulation of nominal, but yet nominal is used in other statutes. The word nominal, they chose not to include nominal in this statute. They said bond. So when we argue nominal, that's academic. It's not even worth it, because if they felt a nominal bond served a purpose, they would have included the word nominal, because they have in other statutes using that word. They chose not to use it here. But you know what? This has gone a little too far. So
all right. This is what I'm going to do. $10,000 personal bond. If either of you disagree with this bond ruling, GPS tether, 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew, you can appeal me. It won't be the first time. I know it won't be the last time. No drugs while this case is pending. I'm sorry?
We don't have time to appeal on these matters because they go so fast, and most likely he's going to get the tether taken off. He's going to get the tether taken. Well, I can't say that. But he's going to have an opportunity to get the tether taken off at his next hearing. So appealing this situation to be mute if he's even out of jail.
All right, $10,000 personal bond, GPS tether, 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew. Probable cause February 19th, preliminary examination February 26th. No drugs while the case is pending. Have a good day, Mr. Powell. Step aside. And gentlemen, Mr. Byrd, Mr. Vincent, thank you for indulging me. I think this was a healthy discussion as to perspectives on this matter.
Yeah, but maybe you can share that with your brethren, because we still don't have any consistency with it. We don't. I mean, yes, it makes sense. You made sense, but it's still, if I have a different magistrate, I may be getting a different conclusion.
Right. But one thing I like to say about the architecture of that, and just personally, if you are going to go back to your brethren, I would like to say the architecture
wait a minute. And
sistering. But I would like to say the architecture of that, just because it doesn't include nominal bond, doesn't mean that you can't give a nominal bond. I believe they just said bond because they want to leave that. They want to leave it open.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree.
You're correct. Okay. Well, anyway, Mr. Walker, how are you?
Fine, sir. I'm fine.
We need to go back. We need to go in the breakout room with him, please.
Hey, magistrate, do you want to do the last woman though first, because then we can let everybody else go, because I think this may be a.
All right, DDC, can you bring out Miss Vincent?
Okay, we'll meet you over there.
I'm not sure I can call in. Can you? I'm not able to call in on the female side.
Oh, okay. Ooh, hold on 1 second.
And I see if somebody
I'm holding on.
I see one.
You gotta try.
Day. What's the day?
We just started late.
That's right. Courtroom 233 hit the panic button.
You know, magistrate, you're ruining your persona non grata about having efficient, quick dockets here. I mean, this is really hurting
Well,
that
you know what?
reputation.
You know what? You're so correct. But we started late through no fault of my own. And you know, it is what it is. You gotta take the bitter with the sweet.
Mm. Yes, sir.
I like to start on time and finish early. But sometimes it doesn't happen. All right, who's in the waiting room?
Yeah, that's late.
Hi, Ms. Shive.
Hello, can I do a breakout room with Mr. Walker, please?
Okay, give me one moment. I want to do the female first before we got to Mr. Walker.
Your Honor, I could do the female. I just want. Oh, there's only one person at DDC right now.
I only have one camera.
No, I understand. We got one on the male side, one on the female side. I was gonna let Miss Schaub go in the breakout room with Mr. Walker while we're
Well, he's not on the screen right now. And so when they come back, we'll figure this out. And I cannot log on to the female side. It won't let me.
Oh, so they gotta bring the female to the male side.
There you go.
Wow.
Yes, I'm pretty sure everybody. Wow.
That thing, because I'm feeling reasonably good about that right now. But yeah,
Steve,
man.
Mr. Vincent,
Yeah.
what are you saying?
Oh, I was saying, are we still here? Like, have we left or do we have to reboot?
Oh, we're still waiting. We're still waiting.
Oh, I thought we had to reboot.
No.
I'm just rambling right now.
Okay. All right, yes.
Yeah, we can't get it to come up over there.
You can't, okay, can you bring out Mr. Walker? Meaning what? You can't get on the female side?
We're not allowed to, but we'll talk to the lieutenant and see the lieutenant and the sergeant and see what they say.
Okay. In the meantime, can you bring Walker out so we put him in a breakout room with his attorney and we can do him?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Go get my stuff out
I'm
here.
sorry, what was they saying? They couldn't bring it forward?
Well, she said she gonna talk to the lieutenant
okay.
about that.
Okay, Ms. Shive. Are you still around, Ms. Shive?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, accept the invitation.
Yes.
All right, DDC, there we go. All right.
I'm ready on Mr. Walker, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw.
Okay, recalling People State of Michigan versus Jarvis Walker. Ms. Shive, you have about 2 minutes to speak with Ms. Walker. I'm at a crossroads as to what to do with him. Do you have any suggestions?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you for that opportunity. Jessica Shive, P number 81798 on behalf of Mr. Walker. I did have an opportunity to speak to him. He's going to be staying at a motel. His mother-in-law is going to help out with the kids, and he's got it all worked out. An alcohol tether is not necessary because he was at the Christian Guidance Center with Mr. Burns, who's his counselor, and he did 50 days there earlier this year, and there was no alcohol, no drugs, 50 days. So I don't believe the tether is necessary. He understands he can't go back to the location. He figured out where to go. This is charged as a misdemeanor. Respectfully asking the court to consider just a high personal bond with nothing else, and he'll be at his court dates, and he understands all court orders.
Mr. Vincent, any response?
Well, clearly he's off the wagon because he was drunk that night. So, I mean,
Okay.
that's
Allegedly.
Hold on, Ms. Shive. He didn't interrupt you. Let him finish.
That's our first issue. Our second issue is this is the second go around with domestic violence against the same person. So I don't know if it's unreasonable to be asking for monitorization, seeing as though he had just gotten off of probation a little over a year for an assault that he was. Okay. For an assault that he was convicted of against the same person. And now we have allegations again of him assaulting this person. And allegedly not whatever, I have a number of reports at my disposal, but he had to go to the hospital for an alcohol clearance. We all see that. So I'm not asking for cash, but I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for what the people are asking for in this matter. This is for the protection of himself as well as the complaining witness.
Okay. All right, court having an argument as to bond. I am going to give Mr. Walker a personal bond, a $50,000 personal bond. While his case is pending, he's not possessing handguns, firearms, other dangerous weapons. No alcohol, no contact with Tamika Monroe. He cannot go back to the traumas. Now, what I find interesting, and I'm glad, Ms. Shive, you spoke with him, was Mr. Vincent's point of an alcohol tether. And Mr. Vincent is correct. There are allegations in the report that he had to seek an alcohol clearance. Now, we don't know how much alcohol allegedly he consumed, if any. I don't know. But the court finds that troubling. And then coupled with the fact that by your client's own admission, and you confirmed it to a certain degree, Ms. Shive, that he has had alcohol issues in the past. Now, I have known people who, and I'm not saying he is an alcoholic, but the evidence clearly points to that way that he is an alcoholic if he hasn't been diagnosed with it. And I'm familiar with them. I've had family members suffer from that issue, and it is a debilitating issue to deal with, and it is a genuine struggle. And I didn't fully understand it till I spoke with a number of folks who have that issue. And the way they described it to me is that most normal people can have a drink or possibly even drink to excess. And it could be a weekend bender or whatever, but at some point they're able to stop. With an alcoholic, and I don't know if Mr. Walker is or not, but I'm saying the evidence points that way. No matter what treatment they have or what, however they go through, they can't have it at all. And once they start, they can't stop. Now, I'm not saying that happened in this case. It sure points that it did because he had to get alcohol clearance. And so for those reasons, I'm going to have him with an alcohol tether, because to me, this seems to be the basis of a lot of his problems, particularly perhaps in this case. So I don't see a need for a GPS tether. I think a no contact provision will do fine. But I do believe he needs an alcohol tether on the very, very basis, the very, very least, that if he stays alcohol free, he can stay sober and make better decisions. So pre-trial will be February 19th in front of Judge Garrett. Is there anything else either counsel wants to put on the record?
Nothing from the people. Thank you.
Nothing further, thank you.
Okay. Step aside, sir. DDC, what are we going to do about the female?
They said no, because it's a pre-issue and some other policy violations.
DPD is gonna come back here with a cell phone and we're gonna do it that way.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, you got the login number, right?
They got the login number.
No, actually for
Log into the courtroom, 360-134-0000. 360-134-0000.
Is that 4 zeros?
Yes, 0000.
360-134-0000.
Right.
Okay.
0 quadruple squared, whatever it is. Or 0 to the 4th power, whatever you want to use. Work with me.
All right, sir. We got it. Thank you.
Huh? Okay. Hi, Gail Bolden.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Oh, turn on your chat. Turn on your audio. All right, hold on. Let me do this. Oh, Jesus. Unmute, please. Unmute, Miss Bowden.
Turn on the audio. Okay. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you. I cannot see you. Hallelujah. Let there be light.
Can he hear you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? That's okay. That was Can you see me now?
Yes.
Judge Burton, can you see me? Not responding. He can see.
You should be able to see us.
Yes, Mr. Vincent.
Yes, what, magistrate?
Oh, you had your hand raised.
Oh, no, this thing has been working all quirky today, like audio on and off and hand raising and stuff. I apologize. That wasn't intentional.
Okay, Officer Bolden, Gail Bolden, can you hear me? I can see you.
Can you hear now?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now, but it's staticky.
He said you.
What a day. What a day. I'm going to Shea Birds after today. Shea Birds. Oh, let's see. If anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. It better be. I got 3 more days of this.
Oh, yeah.
Are you working this weekend?
Yes, I am.
So am I.
Okay.
All
Hopefully
right.
we'll be done in time for the Super Bowl.
I would hope so. If it doesn't go like this.
If it's just like this, I don't know.
Get recorded.
I don't know. I'm
Don't
like,
say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
I'll be like, I'll see y'all at halftime. Of course, we'll take a brief recess. See you at halftime.
We're gonna plow through it. Fine.
All right. All right. Gail Bolden, unmute. Turn on your camera. All right. I can see you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is that Miss Vincent to your left?
Yes, sir.
All right. State your name, Miss Vincent.
Carlita Vincent.
All right. This is case number 250-443-8201. Peace of the Michigan versus Starlika Vincent. Appearances, please.
Lisa Coyle appearing on behalf of the people.
And yes, Your Honor, Brandon Bird on behalf of Starlika Vincent, my client waives her right to the formal reading, was advised to constitutional rights and will stand mute.
Court wills a not guilty plea on behalf of Ms. Vincent. Bond recommendation from the people.
Your Honor, I see Ms. Vincent is in her 40s. She has no criminal history. The people request a $10,000 personal bond and no contact with Mr. Smith or his residence.
No objection, Your Honor. No objection. We do want to say that Mr. Smith isn't at 11294. Sorry, I don't even want to mention it. Isn't that
I know, but I'm just saying his residence.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
No, I understand. I just want to, if he did put an address in that, I just want to let him know that he's not there.
He's not there?
No, he's not at the location of incident, Your Honor.
Okay, he cannot go back to the Kennebuck Street address. She cannot go back there if Mr. Smith is present. No contact with Mr. Smith. You're not to possess any handguns, firearms, other dangerous weapons. Pre-trial, February 19th, in front of Judge Garrett. $10,000 personal bond. Pre-trial, February 19th, no contact with the Kennebuck address. If Mr. Smith is present, no contact with Mr. Smith. And he can't have any handguns, firearms, other dangerous weapons. Anything else? Anybody else? Is there anything else anyone else wants to put on the record?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you all for your patience on a trying day. Tomorrow will be better, I pray. And I'll see you at Shea Birds in a few minutes.